Call of Cthulhu, The Witch's Mark, Part 3. Thomas Wells pulled to a stop outside the Walnut Street apartments around 9 p.m. With briefcase in hand, he exited the car and walked to the trunk, ensuring it was locked before heading upstairs. He reached apartment 71 and knocked. The door opened to reveal a middle-aged man named Edward Longdale. Longdale had been holed up in apartment 71 at the instructions of his employer, carefully watching over Mr. Christian's daughter for the past day. Longdale offered a curt nod. Wells, however, smiled smugly, knowing that as soon as the opportunity presented itself, he would be ending Longdale's life. Longdale shut the door as Wells rounded the table. "Well?" Wells asked. "Where's the girl?" Longdale pointed to the door to the right. Wells nodded and moved to the door. He opened the bedroom and stepped inside. There, tied to the bed, was Mary Christian. Perhaps it was his overconfidence, or the look of fear on Mary's face as Thomas locked eyes with her, but for whatever reason, Wells, who was a normally extremely observational man, was completely unaware that Longdale had taken the opportunity to slip behind him. Before Wells could remove his own pistol, Longdale slit Wells' throat from ear to ear, painting Mary and the bedspread in warm blood. As Wells lay twitching by Mary's feet, Longdale bent down, picked up the suitcase, and entered the main room once again. Mary Christian clambered against the headboard, reeling from Wells' lifeless corpse, writhing in her ropes as she did. The bindings which had burned her wrists and ankles for the past day were looser now, and with Longdale momentarily indisposed, she gnawed feverishly at her hand restraints until the rope frayed and broke. With Wells' warm blood lubricating her already loose foot restraints, she pulled her foot out of the rope that bound her and clumsily began searching the corpse, all the while her eyes shooting back and forth between the door and the body. With relief, she felt the hard metal of his folding knife, and using her toes, she wrapped around the hilt, bringing the knife to her side and grabbing it with her free hand. She quickly cut her restraints and sat up from the bed, giving Wells' corpse a cold, unforgiving look as she headed to the door. But as she did, she heard a man enter the apartment. She crouched, looking through the keyhole, and saw the man enter. While she couldn't hear what they were saying, it was obvious that the man was Longdale's employer. His slim and slender build felt cold and off-putting. His white hair was flat and well-groomed. He wore black leather gloves, expensive and handcrafted. As she sat there silently, their discussion became almost hushed, and she saw Longdale shake his head no, almost pleading with him. From the other side of the door, Mary heard the unknown man say something in a quiet voice, something that sounded like a different language, and suddenly the suitcase Longdale held began to glow a deep yellow. Longdale fell to his knees, grabbing his throat as the suitcase burned bright and hot. From within, a shape began emerging slowly. As the suitcase burned away, a white-hot stone began melting through the case, and with a clunk, it fell to the wooden floor. Silently, Mary watched Longdale as he burned from the inside out. The man, cold and unforgiving, bent down and scooped up the stone, which was about the size of an ostrich egg. From the keyhole, Mary watched as he moved to the stove, turned on the gas, and removed a small device from his pocket, which he placed with care above the door before leaving. Quickly, she spun around, looking at the scene before her. Without hesitation, she grabbed the side table and threw it against the window, littering the floor with glass. She reached into Wells' pocket and grabbed the car keys from his pocket before turning back to the window. She looked down. The 7-story drop sent shivers down her spine, but she swallowed hard and moved for the window. As her feet touched the cold stone of the building, her mind wandered back to her mother. She longed to see her again, to hear her voice, to feel her embrace, and as a large gust of wind shifted her hold on the stone apartment building, her grasp loosened. While it was only a moment, only one small misstep, she lost her grip in her right hand. However, her left hand held true, and as she touched safely on the ground, she breathed a sigh of relief and headed towards Wells' car. She entered his car, but just as she went to turn the key, she stopped and thought for a moment. A look of puzzlement washed across her face, and after a short beat, she took a deep breath. A foul odor came from the back of the car, invading her senses. She exited the car and opened the trunk to see what Thomas Wells had hidden. In his trunk lay the body of a young girl, dressed in Mary's own clothes. Next to a can of gasoline, plastic bags, and a number of tools. Mary's eye met the young girl's, lifeless and cold, sad and alone. It looked as though she had been dead for some time. In the moonlight, Mary whispered something under her breath, and without averting her gaze, made a vow. She shut the trunk and started the car, driving it behind the apartment to the area below the 7-story window she escaped from. In the darkness, she carefully removed the young girl's body from the large trunk and placed her on the ground. With warmth, she softly closed the dead girl's eyes and brought a large, heavy rock down onto the girl's head, over and over, spraying crimson blood onto the pavement, hoping it would be convincing. She stood up from the body, bathed in blood and moonlight, with a newfound fire in her eyes. She tossed the large rock into Wells' trunk and climbed inside the car. She was going to find her mother. And we're live! Hello all and welcome back to the INVICTUS stream. My name as always is Mr. Harlan Guthrie, and I am here with my sexy friend Mr. Mycl Barber, my creative friend Mr. Chris Viseau, and we are here with Call of Cthulhu, The Witch's Mark, Part 3. The finale. I am so happy to be here with you guys on this Wednesday night. What about you two down here? Woo!
Some adventure.
It's going to be some adventure, and it has been some adventure all along with you guys, every step of the way with us. Thank you so much for hanging out. It has been crazy, this little mini story that we've got to tell together. So thank you so much. Huge shout out to everybody who's following along and taking notes. Lauren is specifically one that comes to mind, who's written 5 pages of notes to go along with all this story. So fantastic job, guys. It really makes it worthwhile to do all this kind of stuff. It also makes me make sure that everything lines up so that everything kind of makes sense. So thank you. This is, of course, an 18+ show. If you are not mature enough to hear all the negative words that we're going to say, like what kind of words, Chris?
I never say negative words.
Give me one for a test.
Sphincter.
Sphincter. Well, I don't. That might be a medical term, so I don't know if that's not necessarily.
I thought it was like a big lion man face thing in Egypt.
That's right, the sphincter. The sphincter.
It lost its nose. Yeah. Sphincter without a nose.
Well, we might say worse things than sphincter, but generally this whole campaign is very mature. So if you're uncomfortable with any of dark subject matter, don't watch this. This is not for you. But before you leave, make sure you like the video. It makes everything worthwhile if you like the video. It's how I feed my child. I take the likes and they print out of the computer and I put them in his little mouth, and he hates them because they're paper and they're terrible. No, but please like the video if you, for whatever reason, cannot watch. Also like, share, subscribe. We don't advertise. We rely on the kind generosity of people like you, which sounds like a pledge drive, to share. That's all you have to do. Subscribe, tell your friends, tell your mother would hate us, tell your father, he'd also hate us, tell your long lost brother, He might like us. Depends on what kind of person he is. But that's
strength in numbers. We got to hit everybody because there's going to be 1 in 10.
That's what I'm saying. 1 in 10 people like Invictus. The same number that will die in a car accident. That's way lower and very depressing. So let's move past that. Like, share, subscribe, please and thank you. If you're watching this on Twitch, do whatever you do on Twitch. Twitch us. That's probably a thing. Most importantly, make sure you follow the Facebook group and the Facebook page. The Facebook group is where everybody gets together and talks and hangs out, and you have a chance at winning the most valuable post, which I'm going to throw to Michael in a second. The other thing you can do by being part of the Facebook group is just be cool. Everybody part of the Facebook group is instantly cool in my book. I don't know about you, Michael. What do you think?
Well, once I get off mute, I gotta tell you, yeah, you are correct. I can't even find the words because I'm not cool enough.
I never get tired of hearing I am correct.
How many times have I been almost kicked off of Facebook because they're like, nah, you don't.
264 times.
Just made it.
You literally just made it under the bar. But yeah, Facebook group, sincerely join it, have conversations. We've had a ton of great new members lately. A lot of people who took right to the kind of world we're trying to create. So thank you so much for being there for us. And a huge shout out to Bjorn, who's now elevated his status to brother because he's donated once a fucking again to our Extra Life charity. I was planning on mentioning Extra Life at the end, and actually I will because it makes more sense to throw it to Michael and then throw it back to me. So, Michael, why don't you tell us what and who the MVP this week is, my friend?
MVP, Most Valuable Post, which you can gain experience and change the way we play. That's exciting. And this week, gaining that experience is Stephen Wolf and his post on murder or suicide. Explain why. Again, we just got a lot of feedback from the community, got a lot of involvement, a lot of theories, so it was really good.
It was a really good post. It got my brain tinkering. And I think I'm just a contrarian because I was looking at everybody like, murder, murder, murder. I'm like, suicide. But then Justin made a really good point under my comment saying that she didn't finish the cigarette. And most of the time, if you're going to, kill yourself or murder. Wait, they said it's murder? Most of the time, if you're going to. Oh, wait, no, maybe that's against suicide. Yeah. Maybe I didn't read his comment fully. In any case, whatever. I just want to involve Justin. I had to mention his name sometime. We're contractually obligated to mention Justin's name at least one time per stream. That's the one, Justin. Get off our backs. No, but that's it. So well done, Steven. Fantastic job, MVP. You did good. Now I'll go back to Extra Life. Extra Life is a charity we're doing on November 4th. We're going to be doing a 24-hour live stream, which consists of all the fun things that we love doing, video games. We're going to be filming a Hot Ones challenge and posting that, which is going to be crazy. So get your questions to Aisha so that she can submit them into a kind of a hierarchy of the most interesting ones being answered last, I guess, would be the best way to do that. Lots of stuff on November 4th, but beyond all that, it is a great charity for kids. It is for the Children's Miracle Network of Hospitals. It is a very fantastic charity. Almost 100% of the proceeds go to the people who need it. I don't want to say the kids because it might not be, but the people who need it, put that way. So please, if you can, donate. The link is in the description. I'm going to be doing more spooky streams when I have the time to get more money and all that kind of stuff. And what you guys have done is fantastic so far. So a huge round of applause to everybody who's just helped out in one way or another, whether you shared it or donated, whatever. Thank you. Finally, I wanted to mention a big happy birthday to one of my best friends and Chris's wife, Zara Viseau. They are expecting a little baby in just a few months, so it's going to be a crazy time for him, and I wanted to give my best wishes to him and his wife and their baby. He mentioned it on a Facebook comment, but just the way Chris is, he sort of slips it in under the fold, as it were, so that no one really says anything.
Which is how Zara got pregnant in the first place.
Oh, that sounds like
that sounds weird.
Yeah. But congratulations to these two. On their little baby girl, Henry's first girlfriend or last, or maybe he'd be gay,
betrothed.
Maybe they'll both be gay. It'll be awesome. And so yeah, congrats guys, or congrats on the baby, and happy birthday, Zara, to Thanks, you guys. And that is it from me. We are going straight back to the game, pushing on through today. So without further ado, Call of Cthulhu Part 3: The Witch's Mark. Teddy. She stands on the bridge. She asks you the question. Her words are lost to the wind once again. She falls off the bridge. You follow her down into the murky depths of the Miskatonic River, down past the deepest darkness, and in the darkness there is a dim light that whispers, "In the beginning there was me on this side and life on your side." As the words slip into your conscious, you gasp at your breath as you are dying for air. Roll a 1d6. Actually, first roll swim. Roll swim first.
Because maybe I don't need air because I can swim so well.
Who couldn't? Maybe you'll be Eddie from Numenera.
So here we go.
Swim. I think your swim is 20.
Make it happen. And I'm drowning.
Okay, roll 1d6 damage for drowning.
1 point of damage.
Oh. Let's times that by 20. No, that's fine. So you take 1 point of damage. As you gasp for air just as you emerge from the water, you are currently hanging upside down. Blood is dripping from your stinging nose and your esophagus is on fire. You can see a dark, murky bucket of water below you. Your hands are bound. You're tied to some sort of chair. You can barely see. You're coughing and sputtering.
And I'm conscious completely.
Right now you are, yeah.
Eli, are you here?
Your voice
Call out to see.
echoes into a large open room. You again are bathed in darkness. You can't quite see anything. Your eyesight, you're not too sure if it's your eyes or the room itself, but you can barely see.
Do I get a response?
You hear the echo of your voice, and after a minute of listening, you don't hear a response, but you do hear a soft clicking as heels approach you. Not high heels, just solid feet.
Hello? I don't know why you got me, but you got the wrong man. I haven't done anything. Who's out there?
As the blood is rushing to your head, you squint through pained eyes, and you see a figure approach you from the darkness. The figure grabs the back of your head and speaks to you inches close to your eyes. He says, "Take a rest," and he tosses you back as your head swings, and as it comes forward, you feel a smash against your forehead, and you black out once again. The two of you open your eyes to see the very dull light of fading day in tall ceiling beams in a warehouse. You open your eyes, you feel almost rested until you remember where you last were. You remember leaving St. Augustine's, heading out to the red rear lights of a taxi, but you remember being smacked on the back of the head, tossed in the back of the van or back of the truck, and you remember Max Casey. And sure enough, as you look around the tall stone columns of this empty building surrounding you, you also see Max Casey sitting in a chair, his head drooped on his chest. Here is just a visual representation of what you guys are looking at. Minus Max, obviously.
Max is unconscious completely.
He looks to be, yeah.
And Eli seems to be conscious now.
You can't quite tell because you can't see him, but you do hear a heavy breathing. And as you try to move, you realize you're tied to a chair, his back against yours, back to back with Max Casey, both to the sides of you, maybe 10, 15 feet away.
Eli. And I bump him to see if I can get him awake.
And Eli, you stir awake, feeling it as well. Your head aches. You remember being smacked. But again, you feel weirdly well rested.
Yeah, you there, Ted?
Yeah.
You okay? You okay, buddy?
Nah, what's happened? Who do you think? Why are we here? I can see Max. Max is here with us.
Now, turning around, can I see where Max is?
Yeah, so basically the two of you, again, are sitting facing either side of the thinnest area, I suppose, like in the middle. And Max is to both of you, well, to Teddy's
Like
left and to your
perpendicular
right.
towards.
Yeah. And he's sitting, again, maybe 10, 15 feet away. He's next to a stone column, and kind of a little behind him is a table with some objects on it that you can't quite see.
Oh, I knew there's. Why would anyone want us? I mean, do you think this is something to do with? Obviously, it's got something to do with the case we're on.
Now
Do you
look around. Sorry, Teddy. looking around. Can I see any like I can't see anyone else there?
No. Right
But
now, it looks
can I,
completely vacant, except for the two of you.
I'm sorry, Harlan.
And it's sorry, Teddy. Go ahead.
That vision I had, was that from previous times or from recently?
You can't quite tell. It sort of seemed an amalgamation of both.
Okay. And am I wet to the touch?
Well, no, you're a bit dry now. It seems like you were dunked earlier by whoever dunked you.
Okay.
Whomever dunked you. Who? Eli, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just looking around. Are our legs tied to the chair, or is it just like we're handcuffed to the back of the chair?
No, you are completely tied, all with ropes, to the chairs, and they look like they are metal frames with wooden slats on the two of them.
All right. Now, any way to kind of like work with Teddy and shimmy over to the table to see what sort of implements are there, see if there's something that could cut us free?
The table's a bit far away right now, but you definitely could do that. You could also take a spot hidden and see if you can see what's on the table.
The rope, it's the same type of hemp rope that the nooses were made out of.
It is.
I say that to Eli. Eli, the rope. It's my guess is it's the butcher we're dealing with here. I mean, look at the rope. It's the same stuff. I mean, it could be a coincidence, but you think it's the butcher? Because if it's a butcher, we're in trouble.
I think no matter who it is right now, Teddy, I think we're in trouble.
You want to try to get to that table?
Yeah, I think let's try a little. See if we can. Ship, you ready?
Yeah. So
Ready,
the two of you.
My right, your left.
You're just about to lift up the chair when the far door, well behind Max Casey, opens, and the dimming daylight enters and goes away as quickly as it came.
As soon as I hear the door open, I'm gonna fake being unconscious again.
Perfect. Now, Eli, you don't know he does that, do you?
No, and I'm not quick enough to think of that sort of stuff. So.
Perfect. So the door shuts, and you hear the soft clicking, that same clicking that you heard in your vision or your dream earlier, Teddy. And after a fair amount of steps, you see a man approaching. Now, your eyes are closed, Teddy, so I suppose, Eli, you see a short man, fairly young, maybe mid-20s. He sports a thin beard, and he wears a gray suit with a black tie and a vest. And as he approaches, he walks next to Max Casey, who is still passed out and gagged. He removes his hat, and you see that he's balding. He hangs his hat on the pillar, removes his jacket, hangs that on the pillar, and he begins rolling up his sleeves. Do you say anything?
Not yet.
Okay. He turns to you, and he sort of smiles. And he walks around Max Casey, and he grabs the table, which you see now is on wheels, and he begins wheeling it over across the big echoing warehouse. And he kind of places it near Max Casey between the two of you, and it's now maybe 10 feet away from you. And you see pretty clearly from your angle now, because it is on your side, a number of instruments on the table. You see a serrated garrote, a large flat hammer, a scalpel, a butcher's knife, and sort of a number of other tools. And he sort of just matter-of-factly smiles at you as he rolls up his sleeve.
Hey, you the one they call the butcher?
I am, he says with a smile.
I understand you're a man that we could pay to do certain things.
I am a man that some people can pay to do certain things, yeah.
And you wouldn't be interested in making a little more?
And he sort of laughs. You're fucking kidding me. I
Not at
couldn't be
all.
making more right now, let me tell you. And he walks to the other side of the table with his sleeves now rolled up, and he starts sort of sorting the tools.
What's in it for you? What's in it for you this time then, butcher?
Teddy, are you sitting up at this point?
No, I'm still unconscious, but I would like to try to fiddle with my ropes to see if I can get anything free as
Sure.
non-discreetly as I can. Trying to look really unconscious.
Yeah.
Maybe groan and just try to move to get my
Let's
rope's free.
give
Plus,
us a locksmith roll.
Okay.
Because that would sort of be the closest thing. Or is there picklocking? Picklock? Locksmith. Yeah, well.
Not good at all.
Okay. Or sleight of hand actually would be better.
Still no good.
Okay. We'll do sleight of hand for future. That makes sense.
Okay.
And he kind of
So then
smiles.
I'm just gonna-
Sorry, what was the last thing you said, Eli?
I asked him what was in it for him this time, because I know that he normally gets the $1,000, but he said he couldn't be making more. So I was like, so I believe I said something along the lines of, what is it you get? Something like that. Like, what is it you've been offered this time?
I've been
It's
offered my
obviously
usual
above
fee. I've been offered my usual fee plus a little bit extra. Let's just say it's not going to do you any fucking good to try to outbid me, because who's paying couldn't in any way be paying any less. And he finishes rolling up his sleeve and he walks behind Max and he puts both of his hands on his shoulder pretty hard, and you see Max sort of stir. Max looks bloody and beaten, blood running from his nose over his mouth, which is covered in duct tape. And he sort of squeezes his shoulders. All right, gentlemen. Are we up? Mr. Kane, are you awake?
I'm going to... I think I'm going to try to... I think I'll come to at this point.
Okay.
I stir, realizing that the luck I was trying to have to get the upper hand by loosening my knots, being discreet about it. What? Eli, what are we doing here?
It's all right, Teddy. This is the guy they call the butcher.
Pleased to meet the two of you.
You can't outbid him.
Yes. Well, I don't see you leaving here alive. So if it makes you feel any better, I know your name, Eli Strong. I know your name, Teddy Kane. You can call me Dennis Collins. Tonight...
Collins. Dennis Collins.
Yes.
Why you go by the butcher?
It's a little bit more ominous, I think. And realistically, there's nothing better than a good fear. And he walks over to the table and he picks up the serrated garrote from the table and he kind of looks at it. Having a little bit of a calling card gives a bit of ominousness to my trade. And he walks over and he picks up a large blade. And he puts it in his belt, which is holding a sort of like a holding for the knife, a sheath. And he walks behind Max again.
Mr. Collins, since we're not getting out of here, why don't you tell us a little bit about, we're going to die anyways. You might as well share some information.
And he kind of laughs. Right. Where's the girl? And what did you find out in St. Augustine's? And he says with both hands on Max. Mary.
Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Collins. I don't know if you didn't know, but the poor soul, she's dead.
She's not dead. She's clever. She made it her best to try to fool you two, who bought it, and myself, who didn't. But the girl found at the bottom of the window at the Walnut Street Apartments was not Mary Christian. It was a different girl. So Mary's still out there, and I think you might have the key. One of you give me a spot hidden.
I'll give it a try.
Sure.
Just have it open right away. Mm, 87. Missed it. Want to give it a try? Can we both roll?
No, you get one try. Okay, so no, you don't quite see what's up. And he puts his hands back on Max's shoulders. Says, Mary's alive. I think you might have an idea where she is. And I want to know what you found at St. Augustine's. But I don't want you to answer just yet, he says. I want to prove that I'm very serious here. He draws the blade from his sheath, and he runs it across Max's neck, instantly drawing blood as you see Max's eyes wide open. The blood sprays maybe 5 feet in front of him, digging deep into Max's neck, revealing the wound as he pulls back on the head, cutting through it. The blade, so sharp, cuts almost straight through to the bone. As he pulls back on the head, Max screams and wiggles, but his hand is on it, and the entire time the butcher continues keeping eyes locked on you, Teddy. And as his blade runs the entire side, he wipes the blood on his pants, puts it back in his sheath, and steps back, Max's head almost falling completely off. Each do a sanity roll. So, double fail. How much sanity do you have left, Chris?
Not as much as I would like to have. Sanity is at 17.
17. So roll a 1d10, both of you.
Oh, sorry, that was the wrong die.
No, it still said 6.
And that's the wrong die. Let's try a 1d10 for a change.
How much? Oh, nice. And 7 for you, Eli. How much sanity do you have left?
I'm good. I haven't really lost nothing. That's just gonna bring me to like 41, 42.
Wow. Fair enough. So Max Casey's head almost is completely apart from just a bit of his spine holds the head in place as the body falls limp. And Dennis walks around in front of Max, cups his hand together, leans forward on his knees so that he's sort of in eye contact with the two of you, looking between the two. He says, "All right, so where's the girl, and what did you find at St. Augustine's?"
You fucking animal. Told you, the girl's dead.
And I just told you.
Augustine.
Oh. And he stands up. All right. And he walks over to the table. And for the first time, you realize, coming to your stupor, you're not wearing shoes, nor socks. And he grabs one of the flat hammers, spinning it in his hand as he walks over to you, Eli, kind of tossing it in the air, and he says, "All right." And he bends down in front of you, just where your feet are. Perfect, look at that. And he looks up at you again, and he says, "I'm not asking a question." And he brings the hammer down with such force on your pinky that the blood that just sprays out from it instantly cringes both you, and as it splashes against Dennis's foot, he sort of reacts a little bit with a smile. And he looks back up on you and says, "The girl's dead. Do you want me to get the message across a little more?" Take 1d6 damage, by the way.
Collins, even if she was alive, we don't know where she is. That's her job. We would have found her if we knew where she was.
Give me a spot hidden again. This time, Teddy again. Since Eli's a bit distracted.
Huge
fucking
success.
Animal.
Perfect. So, Teddy, you take a look around frantically, past Max's body, past the table. In the corner, you see your trinkets, pretty far away from you. You see your gun, because you're still wearing basically a stripped-down version of your clothes. You also see a stack of papers in the journal. And within the stack of papers is the address that you collected from St. Augustine's of Sabine's, where Sabine headed next. Just so, he's taken this information from you without reading it, and it looks like he's discarded it in the corner while stripping you down. And he, as you say that, Teddy, he kind of smiles and says, "What did you find at St. Augustine's?" And he slams you again in the toe, Eli, and again, roll damage.
Oh, you fucking animal!
As your scream echoes through the warehouse, and he stands up, wiping the blood again on his pant leg, and he walks over to the table, and he tosses the hammer back on the table as you kind of rubs his mouth. All right.
I told you, we don't fucking know. We don't even have the info. We found nothing. You got more information than we have, because you got fucking know that Mary's a lot. You fucking animal.
The last thing I found in St. Augustine's was a dead girl in a room full of blood, with the name Laval on it. The name I know belongs to Mary's mother, which means you know where Mary's mother is, which means Mary might have gone after her. What did you find out? He says, looking between the two of you.
What makes you think we know? Yes. Fuck.
And what if we tell you? What are you going to do? You're going to go find her? You're going to bring her back to the senator? What's your plan here? Why do you need to know?
I have been hired to kill her. If I find her, she'll be dead.
So it's basically we tell you, and or you kill us, or no matter what, you're gonna kill us. And if we tell you, you're gonna go kill the girl. It doesn't seem like it's much of a bargaining chip there for us.
If you tell me, I'll kill you quick. If you don't tell me, I'll torture you till you fucking die in my hands. And he walks over to the table and he grabs a handful of something you can't quite see. And he walks over to you, Teddy, and he smiles. And your hands, both of your hands, your feet are bare, but your hands are sort of tied into a position that keeps them sort of flat against the arms of the chair. And he slaps one hand down, and with the other, which now you see is sort of like a scalpel, he rams it between your nail and your finger. And blood immediately comes pouring out of your fingertips, coursing down the sides of the chair as you scream into the warehouse as he's
Can't
smiling.
tell you what we don't know.
Just digging it around, and he twists the blade as your nail pops off. Roll 1d6 damage.
Can't tell you what we don't know, you fuck.
You don't know anything. And he walks over to you, Eli, and with the scalpel still in hand, he slams it into your kneecap as he slaps your other knee. And your leg just sort of buckles within the chair. Perfect, just take it off. Buckles within the chair, and he looks at you. Give him a persuade roll. Okay.
I will. Yeah, I think I persuaded enough to know that I'm bleeding lots.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that was a hard success.
Okay. So the blade does drive into your cap. You have an old wound, which doesn't make it hurt so much. Kind of numbs the area, but you are bleeding profusely. But he buys it. He sort of searches your face. And he stands up and adjusts his tie and walks back to his table. There's something I learned in the years of being a butcher, and it's that when people have something to tell, it's only a matter of time before they do. And he picks something up off the table, and he walks over to you, Teddy. And he's holding in front of you a serrated garrote, which is basically a piano wire with teeth all over it. And he sort of wraps it in his fingers and his hands. And he leans down. Did you find anything in St. Augustine's that might lead me to finding Mary? Give him a persuade roll.
Persuade him to...
Well, say what you got to say, and then give a persuade roll. I'm assuming
okay.
You're lying. I don't know.
So I got 97.
Okay.
And I would like to say to him, I'm not going to lie, I said, Collins, if I found anything at St. Augustine, and I'm shaking as the blood is dripping from my hand, and I'm nearly unconscious, and I'm going to die here tonight, the last thing I'm going to say is something that condemned a little girl. Not on my life. And if you got to kill me, Collins, butcher, then you better get it over with.
Well, I only need
I
one of
spit
you.
in his face.
Oh, nice. And it slaps on his face. And he smiles at it and rubs it in. I only need one of you. And he walks between you and Eli. You feel him wrap the garrote around Teddy's neck. And he begins pulling tight. And you hear Teddy choking behind you.
The best we can guess is she's in the fucking attic.
And he stops. What attic?
The fucking Christian attic. Fucking room, you bastard. She's fucking insane. I think they locked the mother in the attic. I think that's where Mary's going.
And he unwraps the garrote and he walks over to Max and he tosses the garrote down on the table and begins laughing. You think she's in her fucking bedroom? And that's the bluff you're going with here. And he walks over to you, Eli, and he slaps you across the face. Not enough to do damage, just sort of to slap you. Do you think I'm fucking stupid? Do you know how long I've done this?
Not in a fucking bedroom in the attic. There's a fucking locked door that no one goes in.
Give me a psychology roll.
No. Can I, let's use luck on that.
Okay. Well, the psychology roll is to tell his face, and you don't need anything to tell he's not buying it in the slightest.
All right.
Based on what you know, the butcher was the one to take her from that room originally.
Right.
So if she went back to the room across the hall, it'd be, well, it's not impossible, but he's not buying it. And he just smiles at you. Maybe you'll go first. Which of you is going to tell me more? And he steps back and sort of does a posed look. And as he does, he backs up and he sits on Max's lap, who's just completely beyond dead at this point. And he just sits there thinking for a minute.
Teddy's right. We ain't telling you shit, fuckface.
The butcher sits on Max Casey's lap, sort of rubbing his chin, watching the two of you. Smiling. So who's no longer needed?
All right. Now, what I was just thinking was I know that Teddy is pretty close to being done for good.
So sacrifice him? Totally agree.
No, opposite. I don't want him going to the grave with another girl's death on his conscience. And I can't live with that, no matter for how long. So I'm going to give up the info to the butcher. Because I can't let Teddy do it.
Okay.
Because either way, we're dead. There's no way out of this one.
Really? Okay. So he kind of rubs his chin, looking at you, and he walks over, and he sees you sort of have something to tell him, right? And he walks over to you, and he kneels before you, smiling. What, Eli? Do you have something to tell me?
There was in the files, there was a priest. Fortunately, I can't remember the name right now, but if you look in Sabine's file, there was a priest. There was letters. I think she went to find this priest.
And where is Sabine's files?
You got them, you fuck.
Was it Mr. McCready? Was that the name?
Yeah, fucking McCready.
Father McCready. That's where
I
she
think
gone.
she went to hunt him down.
Father McCready. In my files. What do you mean?
On the desk. We got the fucking files from the asylum.
And he stands up, looking over at the pile in the corner, because it's not on the desk. He didn't realize what he had. And he walks over, and he says, "You're telling me they're here?" And he walks over to the kind of pile on the floor, and he begins searching through it. And
I don't think there was a address in there, but there was a Father McCready. She mentioned that he was doing something to it, and I think she's going down to get justice or something.
Give me a luck roll, because now that you've alerted him to this information, all you really have to do is read it to get the same information, right?
But as luck would have it, the butcher can't read.
Yeah, he dunked you in water before he dumped you. Like the pile of clothes in the
no, I'm saying he's illiterate.
He's not illiterate, but the pages that are important might have gotten wet. So this is going to be a luck roll for all the marbles. Who wants to do it?
Yeah, no, I failed.
I'll do it then.
It didn't even show up.
Oh, really?
Oh, maybe.
I mean, let me try.
Oh, hold on. Maybe I need to refresh this.
I definitely failed. 95.
Oh, that's bad. Oh, the rolls aren't showing up. Hold on 1 second. Let me just refresh this. Because we got to see the rolls and hear the sounds. There we go. All right, 95. Okay, so yeah, no, that sucked. So no, he looks over them, and he begins pouring through the notes, and he's just kind of sitting there quietly reading for a few minutes while you guys are sitting there.
Eli, what are we gonna do now? I mean, he's gonna figure it out.
I'm fucking bleeding bad, Daddy. I got nothing to go on right now, buddy.
So we gotta try to get out, and I try again to break free if we can.
Okay, so give me a sleight of hand roll.
13.
Why is this not showing up?
And sleight of hand is 10, so I'll push it for I'll use 3 points of luck.
Okay. The rolls are not showing up for some reason. Let me try totally refreshing
Do you want me to refresh mine as well?
No, it shouldn't be. Well, I don't really know. Let's try one more time. Because that's half the fun. Let's test this. No, weird. Okay. Well, we'll just say the rolls out loud. For people who are listening at home anyway, it'll be that much better. Because they get to hear it. Maybe Tim can troubleshoot why that's not working. So what was your roll?
I got a
95.
total. Oh.
Oh, sorry for that one. You're doing sleight of hand. Sorry.
Yeah, I got a 13.
13. Is that a success? No. I think
It is, because I pushed it for 3. With luck.
Oh, okay. So yeah, your hand, you can sort of squeeze it out of the right. And just as you do, the butcher stands up and turns around towards the two of you. And he walks over, and again, he sort of sits on Max's lap looking at the two of you. He can't quite see your hand just yet. Is there anything else? And he leans forward.
Yeah, the girl who was in there, she was crazy. We killed her. We had to. And I'm trying to talk as I'm. And there was this occult stuff. Maybe it has to do with the occult. And this whole time, I'm still trying to get my arms free.
Okay, yeah, you can like get your right hand free, and
Yeah.
it was a sleight of hand success, so you can sort of keep it hidden, but you have nothing on you, and you're sort of far away from everything.
Then I'll bide my time and wait for my opportunity.
Okay, and he doesn't. He kind of just dismisses that, and he turns to you, Eli, and he says, "Is there anything else?" And as he's talking, you see him reach over the table and pull his pistol off, and he sort of just checks it.
I don't know what the fuck you want from us, Butcher.
It seems to me you're a butcher. You're not much of a detective, and I mean, you didn't even check our stuff. I think you need us. We'll help you find the girl. Just keep us alive.
And he just sort of shakes his head.
I mean, this whole time you've been following us, and what are you gonna do when the trail runs cold, as it has so many times already on this investigation? You're gonna just find someone else to kill? I mean, we got you this far.
All I had to do was follow you boys. Can't say it was that difficult.
We're gonna follow next, though. Colin, you're gonna kill us, and then there's gonna be nothing left for you to follow.
Give me a
Runs at that.
Give him a persuade roll. It's pretty sweaty. Not in
Yeah,
real life.
96.
Let's all exit and go back in, by the way, because I think someone just said that. If everyone can exit Invictus. Everyone leave and go back in. That's the way the Invictus wins. Not the video. Michael. Oh, you're so cute. Michael just exited the chat.
I'm out. I'm
Okay.
out.
Okay, roll. Roll, let me see if it shows up.
All right.
Nope.
100.
Nothing. Jesus. Jeez, Tim! What the heck? You created a program all by itself and it didn't work. Okay, what did you end up rolling for the persuade, by the way? 100?
I think it was a 96, 86 or something.
Jesus. Okay. And you're trying to persuade him that he still needs you.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So he kind of smiles and shakes his head and says, "Not buying it, boys. There's nice working with you." And he stands up and he goes to his table and he looks down and he kind of searches. Be right back. And he kind of skips outside to the door, the open door, and it shuts behind him.
I hate to say this, Harlan, we lost your footage.
What do you mean?
I can't see you anymore.
What? Can you see
I
me,
can.
Mike?
Yeah.
Okay, it's just me then.
It's Chris. Chris is a monster.
Yeah, that's not really.
He goes towards the open door, so he's gonna leave us.
It seems like he was grabbing something.
Well, then I'll take this as an opportunity.
Okay. So you free your hand.
And I'm going to try to quickly free my other hand if I can.
Okay, give me a...
Like how far away is he? Give me a...
He's walked through... So that picture that I first showed you...
Yeah.
Is essentially what you were looking at, except the only difference was that Max was in it. So you're sort of camera right in front of it, and that doorway there is sort of where he walked out of, and that's where he entered from as well. It's a fairly long walk.
I'll have to take your word for that one.
You don't think that's a long walk?
I can't see.
Oh, right, you can't see. Well, okay. Why can't you see it? Everyone
Well,
else.
it's probably about 80 feet. Because
80 feet.
normally those posts are about 40 feet apart.
Using my judgment, does it look like I could get my hands free, my feet free, and run maybe to the table before he gets back?
You don't know how long he's going to be. You don't know what he's doing outside. You could be having a smoke.
I'm gonna give it a try then, I guess.
What? That at this point, you sort of because he seems like he's about to kill you.
Hell yeah. Okay.
Okay.
So I'm gonna untie my hands.
Okay.
And hopefully that'll loosen also Eli's hands as well. And I'm gonna run to the table, grab the nearest knife and or something, my biggest weapon. And,
Okay. So let's do some rolls. I mean, it's going to be difficult to get your other hand free. How would you like to try?
I want to just untie it probably. So sleight of hand, I imagine.
Okay. Try sleight of hand. That's going to be a difficult roll.
Do I have any other options? Let's see. I could do
dexterity, but that's a pretty difficult roll. Mike, is your not overlay working? Is your overlay working?
Oh, yeah, sorry. Didn't even try.
You bastard!
Yeah, I'll do dexterity if I can.
Well, dexterity is going to be I'm going to say it's a harder success.
Well, yeah.
But, yeah, it'll probably benefit you more, so. Why am I out of focus all of a sudden?
The other option is I could try to... Yeah, I'll try dexterity. I think it's...
Okay.
That's still beneficial.
I would try it this time as well.
Yeah, okay. You can also work together to, like, do what you were trying to do in the first place. Tip it off or something like that.
Yeah, so it's a success.
I'm like extreme success.
A critical success, a 4,
success.
and a success for both of you. Okay. So with Eli's critical success, Eli, you can get out of this scenario. I mean, the binds are very tight, but you can, sort of loosen one of them, similar to how Teddy's doing. Well, I guess with extreme, I'll let you do too. Your foot and your hand come free, and you've succeeded as well, Chris. Sorry, they had a 4 and a 36. I don't know why the dice stream's not working. So, and you free your other hand, Chris. And the two of you are sort of now getting loose of the chairs.
And
as soon as I can, I'm going for my gun, and then just double check to make sure it's loaded.
Okay, so you run over to the table.
No, I stumble over.
You stumble over. Your knee is fucking covered in blood. You're so fucked. So yeah, the two of you make it to the chair relatively quick. The door is still shut. You pass by Max's bleeding body, and you run over to the table. You see his various implements. His gun is gone. However, you do see your pile in the corner where it had the address and all that kind of stuff, and it might be within there.
Yeah, I'm gonna go look there as best as I can.
So you limp over there
to see if it's just tossed aside somewhere. If it's
so
not there.
Yeah, you limp over, and as you grow closer, you do see it, and you sort of. Right as you're about to reach it, you hear the door open. Meanwhile, Teddy, when you got up, what did you do?
I ran straight for the table to see any implement that I think I could throw or use as a weapon.
Okay, and you do. You run to the table. You see all the tools that he previously used: the hammer, the butcher's knife, the serrated garrote, and which do you grab?
I grab the butcher's knife and the hammer, one for each hand.
Okay, so you grab both, and just as that happens, the door opens, and the butcher's...
And I shoot.
Okay, the gun was not loaded, is what I was about to say. When you checked it, because you did want to check it.
Click, click.
Well, you would know that because you did ask to check it.
Yes.
But so he steps in, and he's holding a large sort of plastic sheet in one hand. The other hand is empty, and he kind of stands there, momentarily paused, as you do have the gun drawn on him.
Well, I wouldn't, because what would be the point if it was empty?
Well, he doesn't know that.
Yeah, he does, because he would have emptied it.
Would he?
Yeah.
Yeah, because why else would it be empty?
Because you fired all your bullets into the darkness?
No.
Don't you remember those 50 extra times? Yeah, no, it's definitely empty. And the bullets are on the table. So you have the gun. Okay. You're now sitting there on the floor next to the pile.
Mike ran to the table first, so he probably would have grabbed the bullets if he saw it.
That's right. No, I don't think he... Would he leave the bullets on the table? Feels like if you're emptying someone's gun, putting them in another accessible place might not be the best idea. But then again, if you have someone kidnapped, maybe you wouldn't empty it. You know what? Let's say the gun's full.
Then he fires.
Yeah. Because I feel like... Let me think. I mean, he strips you down. He throws everything you got in the corner. He takes his own gun. He doesn't need your gun. You're at his mercy. He's not really fearful of you. But he put all the other weapons on the tool. Let's say it is full. Okay, so he walks back in and he stops as you have the gun drawn on him. And you fire?
Yep. And if... Yep, I would fire.
Perfect. Give me a firearms roll. We can't see it.
Well, it was an extreme no.
I can see it. They can't see it.
My handgun is 70. I got 79. How much luck can I use to push it?
I don't think you can on attack.
Oh, you can't on attacks.
Yeah.
Anyway, knowing that I missed, I'd be like, okay, that's enough, Butcher. We're walking out of here.
So you're going to play it like you purposely missed?
Yeah.
Okay, give me a persuade.
Where am I? Where's my persuade? Yeah, my persuade is 50. I got 46.
Success. So you fire the gun sort of up on an angle, and you play it off. Tell me again.
Again, my fingers are bleeding. My
well, you have your gun, so that's a plus. And what do you say?
Sorry.
So go ahead, continue. Play it out how you do it.
Listen, Butcher. Me and Teddy and Casey taking our stuff. We're walking out of here. You got a choice. You make that choice right now. I know you're a confident man. I know you're professional. But unless you want to die here today, right now, I say you let us walk and live to fight another day.
He doesn't even change his expression. He's still smiling. And he says, fair enough. And he backs out of the door.
All right. Teddy, you okay to help Max? Because I'm already like I'm
looking at Max like, help Max. Max he's a corpse.
Oh right, sorry, I forgot that he was dead.
I don't think I can do anything for him.
Max is not walking out of there.
That's right. So I walk over to our stuff and I get all our papers. I say, we gotta go. We gave him the butcher's on his way. He's gonna find Mary. We gotta get it there before him.
So yeah, we grabbed all the papers and then we were heading, right?
Righto.
And we're gonna go find. So the car keys were on the table as well.
No, there's nothing else on the table besides the weapons.
And Max's car keys, are they in his pocket?
Maybe. However, the car, well, yeah. So you can check over Max. You do find a set of car keys.
Well, hopefully for the car that's outside.
Well, chances are the butcher took the car because Max was in his own truck.
Right.
Well, we'll try.
That's a good point.
Okay, so you head outside and you see a set of tire tracks peeled off towards, and as you were approaching the door, you heard the very same. However, just tucked off to a little side, you do see there is a taxi. The taxi that was used to ruse you, I suppose, when you got into the back of St. Augustine's. So it seems like there were two cars.
So maybe so even if his keys don't work, there might be keys still in the car, because why move them?
Exactly.
So in a haste, I get into the car and I look through the glove compartment anywhere for keys.
And actually, they're sitting right in the ignition. Again, yeah, in this day and age, it's...
Then, like, kind of in adrenaline pumped, I start the car and I start heading to where I believe, peeling out, trying to get there before the butcher does.
Okay, Elijah, you're grasping your knee as the two of you are peeling out through Arkham, trying to head north to where this address was. And as the two of you are trying to look over the bloodstained pages, you tend to, as you get north past Arkham, It becomes a bit quiet and more contemplative. You kept good pressure on your wound, and you've...
I'm using my tie to kind of tie it off, but not enough that I lose the leg.
Yeah, you don't want that. That wouldn't be very beneficial. So you do tie it off successfully, and as you reach the hills past Arkham, and the sky now turns dark, you realize you've been asleep for a fair amount of time. When you left St. Augustine's, it was still morning, but for whatever reason, you've been passed out in the butcher's grasps for a good amount of time, and it's now night. You begin driving past where you need to be, and you're looking over the address, and it seems to be sort of a rural road. And eventually you start looking. Give me a drive roll, Teddy.
Can I have him navigate for me to give me an advantage or something?
Yes. Well, the drive roll is going to be whether you beat someone there.
I got an 84.
Okay.
So not a success.
Not a success. But because he gave you a navigation bonus, I'll let you roll it again.
Thank you.
Sort of like an advantage die. You roll it twice, take the better one. 53,
this time,
which is probably not a success either.
still not good enough.
Drive is a tough one. But what is his drive? 20. No, both. I don't think you guys own a car, so it sort of makes sense. So you have a difficult time trying to find the location of the place, but with a bit of luck, you do find a rural road that matches the name of Angela Welk's letter to Sabine. And you arrive at the address in question. However, it seems to be just a mailbox. And as you pull up and the moon breaks through the clouds, you see a small path leading up to the already dirt road. Looking up the path, you see a small building off the main road. The path is too thin for the car.
Do I see another car near? Did the car beat us here?
You don't see another car near, no.
And then I would hop out quickly and say, we gotta go, we gotta get out before the butcher gets here.
And I don't know, Eddie, maybe I should just wait and try to shoot him here. You go save the girl.
Yeah, what happens if I run into whoever is taking her in the first place? I mean, I'm not much for the gun.
All right, let's go, Teddy.
I get out of the car and I start, I help out Eli. I get under his arm. I said, we can do this. We gotta hurry before the butcher gets here.
Okay. So you get out of the car and begin heading up the dirt path towards the building at the edge of the wood. And as the night sky begins to show the stars high above you, you hear that same rumble of thunder in the distance that you heard yesterday. You round a small hill, and you see the building now in full view in the moonlight. The tree line is just a bit ahead, and the building looks like a church. Very small, moss-covered stones and a small door. The structure looks simple, but ancient, well used. There's no door there is a door on the front, but as you head up towards it, the roof is completely missing, almost by purpose. And
What do you mean by purpose?
it looks like it's been removed, not through wear and tear, but
Right,
sort
like it
of.
doesn't look like the remains of the roof. It's
Exactly.
completely gone.
And this is the front of the building.
Mm. Now, when we passed the mailbox, was there a name or anything on the mailbox that we saw? I
No, it's just the number of the address that Angela Welks used.
wonder if we should have checked the mailbox. Probably a good idea.
The
Oh, well, it's too late
little envelope was down.
Okay.
So entering the church, it smells of ancient fire and sort of sweet, like rose petals. The church, like I said, is tiny, but it's built with stone pillars, and the roof is completely removed. The starry night sky is completely visible. The trees surrounding it are almost an oval, and they do not obstruct the view in any way, shape, or form. And as you approach, it seems vacant, empty. And the only thing of note that seems at all interesting is a large stone right above the altar in the front of the church. And written on the stone, in very tough sort of carved lettering, says, "Castor waned in darkness fright, Pollux waited for the light. The sickle shape of lion's head, Regulus brightly shone instead. Corvus the crow will set you free. Follow it strong until you see the glowing pond, the blackened tree. To the east of there will be. And as you stand there, it feels like it's speaking to you. Something about this passage feels dark and expectant, but it also feels like it was left as a guide. And I will post this in the evidence files on Discord.
It does seem like directions. It's my instincts. And I talk right out loud with Eli. Waited at the for the light. Do you think it means we gotta wait for moonlight or something? I mean, the sickle shape, that could be moonlight, but the lion's head, I don't understand that. Bright shone instead. Regulus, brightly shone instead. Corvus the crow will set you free. Follow it strong until you see the growing pond, blackened tree. Maybe there's places around here. Maybe there's a blackened tree nearby. Something's charred or something.
Is there like a weather vane or something on top? Or is there like a tombstone that would be shaped like a crow? Or
no, there doesn't seem to be anything like that. Why didn't someone give me a knowledge roll or an intelligence roll? I guess
I'll give it a try. No success.
No success. Okay.
Ooh, do we follow the constellations?
That's a good idea. Corvus is a constellation.
So as you say that, something sort of does ring true to you.
That's
Castor, Pollux, Regulus.
Extra.
Nice, that's Zia. So something about that does sound true. You remember that the sickle shape is sort of the lion's head. The crab is a dim constellation. Regulus is the brightest star in Leo. And as it sort of comes back to you, you remember Corvus, the crow, is one of the brightest stars in the sky as well.
Dark Pollux waited for the light, the sickle shape of lion's head. Set you free. Follow it strong. So we gotta follow the Corvus the star, like you said, till you see the glowing pond. And then, is it nighttime?
It is night.
So then I look in the. Do I know anything about astrology?
Let's roll intelligence again. Although I think astrology is on here, isn't it? No, it's not. Good.
No, I'm successful this time with a 54.
Nice. All right, and let's all exit. And Michael, not apps, not this, but exit the INVICTUS. Let's all exit that and try to refresh, because I do think it could work. I'm just going to wait a second and then go back in. Okay, so you take Eli, you see Teddy shoot his head up to the sky, and Teddy, you realize, and you can start following it. Tell us how you do that.
Am I wrong in thinking if it's the brightest star, is it the North Star or no? I mean, it's not the brightest star, but it could be. I find the different constellations. I look for them. It's hard to find a few of them, but eventually I do find Corvus the crow, or the lion's head, which has Corvus in it. That star, right?
Yeah.
And I find the bright star, and I look up. I see there. That's Corvus. And I point it out to him. I say, it's possible we just follow that direction, and maybe it'll bring us to where we need to go.
Lead on, Teddy. Lead on.
So, yeah. So Eli is convinced by your point, and even though he's in a lot of pain, he begins following you into the woods.
And I'm more trying to keep my wits about me. Like, I'm letting Teddy do all the lead-in, and I'm just kind of following along. I'm really trying to keep my wits about to see if we're being followed.
Okay, give me a notice or a spot hidden. I guess we called noticed idea roll. So yeah, let's do a notice roll.
But unfortunately, the pain it's far too
74.
intense. Every step, my shattered toes are sending tinges through my body. Every step, my knee is pumping out with a little more blood.
So you're just a bit distracted by the very painful knee that you have, and you begin feeling a bit lightheaded and woozy, but you press on, knowing that a girl's life isn't at stake. You begin heading through the woods, and you're heading east, and the night is dark around you. Do you have your flashlights?
Yeah, because we grabbed everything off the table.
Damn
So
straight you did. Good. You got your flashlights out. You're checking out the woods. Let me see that again, Michael. Okay. You're checking out the woods. Shining your flashlights again. Haven't changed the batteries in a while, so every once in a while they flicker a little bit. But the wind is howling, the trees are swaying, and eventually you come across a pond. And in the moonlight, it seems almost like it's glowing. It seems like there's something within the water, some sort of algae that's reacting, and it sort of has a off glow about it.
We gotta look for the blackened tree now. And I look around outside the pond. I said, "It's glowing," and just like the direction said. And I look around the pond looking for a blackened tree.
And sure enough,
can we find the North Star as well to see which way is east?
Yes, you can. You guys are now astrologers. Astronomers. Astrologers. Capricorn. You take a look and you see the North Star, and you look around, and there, deep in the wood, is a massive tree, black as ash. It almost looks like it's been burnt. But as you approach, you touch its skin, and it feels just like bark. But for whatever reason, it's completely black.
We gotta go east. And I point towards where we think east is and keep pushing on as quickly as we can.
Perfect. A while past the blackened tree, you begin to feel a bit uneasy. The two of you walk quietly through the night. The stillness is almost upsetting. And you take a moment and think about everything you've been through so far. That thing in the house at Washington Street. You think about the body of the girl lying below. And as you push through, the pain in your knee, Michael, sears through. But you talk about exactly what you've experienced so far and what you hope to find.
I think back and said, that was Mary. Who was the girl down at the bottom of the building? Who was it that died?
I don't know, Teddy. Probably just some girl that Wells found, maybe like, I don't know, homeless girl or someone that wouldn't be missed. Because Wells had a plan to replace her, but why? Like, what was Wells planning?
Maybe it was like we thought at the beginning. After all, it was the ransom. Maybe he wanted that thing in the briefcase, but that doesn't make sense still. Because what would we do with the body? What would he do with the girl? That something's not adding up.
After a few moments,
he was gonna let Mary go. He and Mary were going somewhere.
After a few moments of talking, you notice the wind has stopped. The light of your flashlights only shows the trees as you're moving through them, and your stepping softly creaks against the forest floor. The night is still, lifeless. The crickets are no longer chirping, and the trees which swayed only moments ago now sit still and silent, as if frozen in time. You turn to each other, but as you do, a figure runs past where your light will touch.
There's someone else out here. Hello? Is that Mary?
Your voice echoes in the woods. Again, silent still. Nothing moves. All you can hear is your breaths.
We're here on behalf of your father. He sent us here. Mary, come on, we can help you.
Eli, you begin feeling lightheaded and a bit queasy. And for a second, you need to catch your breath as you look up again, and again, the figure moves past quickly between the trees, and you hear this time the crunching of the underbrush as it moves. It comes from behind you as well.
Sabine Laval.
As you stand in the darkness, your flashlights begin to flicker slightly.
I pull my blade out.
You spin around, your lights dancing between the oak trees like movie stills. You run your light through a series of birch trees and you see a face. The face is Louise Mensa, the woman who died on the bridge. And she's gone. Teddy, you swear you saw her face between the trees.
Eli, do you see that? It was Louise. She was here.
Teddy, it's the light. It's the trick of the light.
I know what I saw, Eli. It was Miss Mensa. She was here.
Teddy, we've been through a lot, buddy. Been through a lot. There's no way. It's
maybe.
Probably Mary just looked like her. Sabine just looked like her.
As you're standing between a row of trees, you hear something, as if it's tossed at you, land with a thud at your feet.
Bend down to look at it.
And as you do, you shine your light by your feet. A gray mist crawls in, almost as if it seeps from the ground. It's an off-white and unwholesome gray. It almost smells off, and you hear a guttural screech of a creature echoing through the night. It chills you to the bone as you feel your breath draw, your cheeks flush with fear, your heart beats in your eardrums. There is something in the woods with you.
Oh, you think it's another one of those fucking things that we saw in the house?
Even more reason we gotta find Mary before it's too late.
You begin moving quickly, spinning around side to side, thinking you see Mensa in the trees moving between them.
Mary!
As you do, you see there, between the space of trees, standing before a large oak illuminated by the flickering lights of your torches, you pause and see it. A creature with large blackened horns stretching out from its skull. Its body is covered in black matted fur, its elongated snout like that of a goat, but its eyes crimson red. It stares at you, the two of you, as your hearts beat wildly. It lurches its head back and screams into the night, its breath blooming in the cold, dark woods. And as it does, Eli, your legs can no longer support your weight, and you fall to your knees as you feel the pain in your knee smash as you do against the ground. Teddy, you see Eli fall next to you.
But can I take my eyes off the beast?
You don't have to.
I can't. I try to help Eli out. We're still staring at it.
And as you do, the exhaustion is too much for you as well, and you fall to your knees. The gray mist now seeps around your fingers as you touch the forest floor. The two of you begin breathing heavy, sharing looks between the two of you as you see feet walking around you. The gray mist begins filling your lungs as the two of you begin panting and panting. More and more you trying to share a look, and Eli, as you look past Teddy, you see the 2 feet of the goat behind Teddy walk behind him and pause. You look up to see the creature over you, its breath blooming once again as it looks down at you. And you close your eyes. Both of you pass out. And we're going to stop there for the mid-game post. Woo! That's right, mid-game post time. This is the time where we jump over to the Facebook group and we ask you guys a question. The question can be anything from, does my hair look cute? Or do you really like Band-Aids? If it was, do you really like Band-Aids? There's only one correct answer. What is that correct answer, Chris?
I'm not a huge fan of benefit concerts.
That's true, Band-Aid. But oh, I have that sound effect. Nah, yeah.
It doesn't.
The mid-game post question. This one is an easy one, which means we're going to do a 1d20. It's easy if you have a pen and paper. It's not the easiest one I've ever done, but I feel it's pretty easy because I said it like 16 times. The question is, who did Thomas Wells meet in the apartment during the intro? This is a man's name. Depending on who answers, if someone answers first and last, I will award everyone who answers first and last. If everyone only answers last name, then we will award it to everyone who answered the last name. So the more you know, the better chances you have is what I'm going to say. And this is going to be a 1d20, so 20 chances. Posted now. Where's my round of applause? How you liking the game, Mikey? You're muted, so I have to assume you're saying, "Oh, it's the best game I ever played in my life."
It's very painful.
Well,
I've never been in this much pain in a game before.
Well, you know, I got. If the butcher comes back, he's got to get you in a real hard way.
Yeah, no, he's not coming back. I'm popping a cap in his ass.
Yeah, good luck with that. It's the butcher. He's the baddest motherfucker in the land.
Where'd we lose Chris?
Little Chrissy had to go pee-pee. See?
Oh, that happens.
I wonder why this dice roller's not working. Disappointing. I wanted to see all the successes and fails with everybody.
Yeah, I was gonna say we haven't had that many successes.
Yeah, you
We've had a
haven't.
couple, but not enough.
Yeah, I guess I could try closing the browser completely. Let's try that just in case, since we have the time right now.
Harlan's left. Oh no.
Harlan's left. What's Harlan's left? Oh, the group. I thought you were talking about my left side.
Oh, apparently my kitty is coming in to say hello.
Aw, that means drink.
Yeah, hi kitty.
Still not working. Hi, cat. Alrighty. Mid-game post. So, who did Thomas Wells meet in the apartment during the intro? Actually, I'm going to call this one a medium one because there's not that many answers, and 1d20 just seems kind of crazy. So we're going to do a 1d10. Don't shake your head at me, Chris. Don't you dare shake your head at me. Don't you dare shake your... All right, so mid-game post. We got Michael Carl Weber, Rin Regan, Bjorn Peterson, Paul Bernhard. Mike only gave one-word answer. Sorry, Mike Fazio. We got Josh Chapman, Paula, Steven. We're going to go up to 10. So 3 more people, and we're going to roll a 1d10. Because I'd say maybe it's medium difficulty. And because there's not 20 people answering. What's the point if not 20 people answering? I'm not going to roll 1d20 for no reason. You guys looking at the advice? Lots of great advice coming in.
I'm going to go check it out
From the cheap seats.
That was tough. We were tough. I almost died there.
Yeah, you did.
I'm still almost dying there. I might die right now.
You might die right now. Yeah.
Find out who wins the mid-game post and dead.
And then die. All right, well, we got to get back to the game, and only so many people have answered, so we're just going to do this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We're going to do a 1D. How can you do 7?
Do 1d8. If you roll an 8, roll it again.
Good call. All right, here we go. It doesn't matter because they can't see my die rolls. Ugh. Whatever. I'll just be honest, even though I hate it.
Oh, man.
What did I roll? Oh, a 5. That means Michael, Rin, Bjorn, Paul, Josh Chapman, you are our winner. Chicken dinner. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. Well done, Josh, and you're, I think, relatively new, so you win the mid-game post. Congratulations for paying attention and knowing that the guy's name was Mr. Edward Longdale. Edward didn't have a long life to live in this game. He pretty much showed up, watched a girl for an entire day. His boss showed up, burned him alive, and then he was out of it. So that's all Edward's life was. But that's okay, because some people are just background players, and I think that's their lot in life. Just like me.
Oh.
Let's go back to the game with a round of applause and a dramatic tone. Teddy, you don't have your glasses. You wake up to the smell of fire in the distance, your eyes out of focus and blurry. The air feels almost cold as it blows through the soft curtains of the hut you reside in. The room you're in is small. It houses little more than 2 beds, a table, and a chair. The walls look to be made of dried mud. The beds themselves are made of straw, and you're under cotton sheets. There's an authenticness to the small building with its dirt floor, and as you pull back the sheets, you realize you're wearing nothing more than your undergarments with a long cotton shirt. Teddy, you look across the way, and though he's out of focus, you see Eli stirring as well. The 2 of you are sitting in single beds on either side of this small hut.
Did we see what I think I saw back there?
You know, Teddy, I don't know, man. We've seen a lot of wicked, weird stuff, and I don't even know what to believe right now. I think our minds, our fears get the best of us. I think we need to refocus. I'm in so much pain still, Teddy.
And Eli, as you say that, you pull back the sheets and see that your knee has been bandaged. And while it still hurts, it actually feels a lot better. It looks like someone has
Tended to the wounds?
Yeah, in a way. It feels almost like there's something put on it, something medicinal. And with a curious sort of regard, the two of you sort of look to the window, and you see that the light of day is waning. And the last time you were awake, it was almost midnight.
I think that fucking goat man was helping us.
Give me a listen roll.
Eli, remember that star we saw on the floor in Mary's room?
Yeah.
Maybe Mary's behind all this. I'll do the listen roll. Did you already try it?
I did, and I will push it 5.
You're that close?
And then, yeah.
Okay. You hear a laughing and a bit of talking and sort of a stirring just outside the hut's door, which is just a plain wooden door.
Shh, Teddy. Shh.
And as you hear it, you hear the voice of a young girl. She sounds under 20. I mean, it's tough to decipher exactly how old she is. And after a few moments, you hear a knocking. May I enter? Asks a timid voice on the other side of the door.
Yeah?
The door opens, and a strikingly beautiful but plain young woman, maybe 17, enters. And she brushes her long hair behind her ears as she does, and she smiles at you, Teddy. And she enters with a basket, kneeling between the two of you. Good evening, sirs. We've found you in the woods last night. We've washed your clothes. And she removes your clothes from a basket, and she sort of puts them on either side of the bed.
Thank you. What's your name?
And she kind of just smiles and blushes. And she kind of stands up and takes a step back and waits for you to, or she realizes, I guess, she's sort of in an awkward place, and you can tell she's very, very shy. Give a roll.
Give her a roll.
Yeah, to get her name. Not you, Teddy. Sorry, I mean
Okay.
Elijah, because he asked her name.
Yeah, persuade?
Yeah. Success. 51 for a 60. And she sort of looks down, and she looks up at you and says, Juniper.
Oh, you said Juniper?
Hmm.
That's a very pretty name, Juniper.
And she smiles and
Who
blushes.
are you talking to out there?
Oh, just some of the other people.
There's more than just you?
Oh, yeah. There's a whole bunch of us here.
Now, can I stand?
Oh, of course. And as you go to move, she sort of, and like turns around, and she sort of awkwardly covers her eyes.
And are my pants anywhere?
Oh, yes. And she sort of tries to gesture at where she put your clothes on the bed.
I'm sorry, and I'll pull the blankets up and over until I can get to
No, I'm sorry. I should leave. And she goes to leave the room.
Wait, Juniper, we got questions we got to ask you.
Of course. Okay. And she kind of spins back around, holding her eyes.
Put my glasses on, and I pull my pants on and put my shirt on as quickly as we can.
And you see she peeks a bit. Horn dog.
Is there a girl named Mary Christian here?
And she looks confused a bit. Mary? No Mary Christian. Mary Laval was here.
Can I pull the picture out if I can?
Yeah.
Mary Laval.
Well, you don't have any of your stuff, unfortunately. You just have your clothes back.
Okay, so Mary Laval. Mary Laval. And I look at Eli. Where is she? She's in danger. We gotta look after her. Tell us where she is.
No, she's safe. She's fine.
You don't understand. There's a guy, and he's intent to kill her.
I don't think that's the case. Mary Ellen would know, and Mary Ellen would protect her.
Who's Mary Ellen?
Mary Ellen
We got-
is Mary Ellen is well, she's Mary Ellen.
All right, let's go talk to this Mary Ellen.
What is
Oh.
going on?
Well,
Can you-
we found
can you
you.
pardon me?
We found you in the woods. You were passed out.
Yeah, in the middle of nowhere, and we're now here. Who took our clothes off?
Well, And you can see she's sort of hesitant. So give her a little bit of a persuade.
Success. I got an 11.
Nice. So she sort of
Tell
looks
us
to
what's
the-
going on.
You walk through mushroom spores. They're deep in the woods. Small mushrooms that when you walk through them, they release a cloud of smoke. They're very toxic and they can make you feel very dizzy and sick. They were all over your clothes. When we found you, we needed to wash them. I didn't look, I swear. And she sort of says with a smile.
So is that why we saw that thing in the woods? It was just the spores.
And she sort of looks at you with a puzzled look. What thing? There's nothing in this woods.
We saw a creature. He had horns and everything.
Yeah, it's just a hallucination.
And I feel relief right away.
Just a hallucination.
And I said, we need to speak to this Mary Ellen. We got to find Mary. That's why we're here. If Miss Laval, if we could see her, we got to straighten this out as quickly as we can.
No, of course. Mary Ellen wants to speak with you. And before the words even leave her mouth, you hear another knock at the door. And Juniper turns and says, yes. And then a voice on the other end says, Juniper. And the door opens and you see an older looking woman, more stern, maybe in her 50s. She's wearing a bonnet, a very tight dress. Everything is sort of covered. And she enters and says, Juniper, you are to deliver these men's clothes and leave. And Juniper sort of shyly looks up and says, oh, and she steps out of the doorway and she kind of turns back and looks at you one last time, Teddy, before she slips out.
No harm, man. She was just helping us understand where we were.
Yes, well, you are with us. We are a small community dedicated to serving the Lord. We have lived in these woods for many a year, and we try to help those in need. You men were found wandering in the woods. You are in a state of delusion. We took you in against my decision. We washed your clothes, and you have been sleeping here for well over 13 hours.
And Miss Laval, is she okay?
Miss Laval.
There's a dangerous man after Mary Laval.
Mary Laval is not with us.
What about Sabine Laval?
Sabine and Mary chose to leave us 5 years ago.
5 years ago.
Yes.
When did
Mary
Juniper
been with
get
you
here?
5 years?
Hold on. Why are you looking for Sabine and her daughter?
Because there's a very dangerous man that's after them, and he will be here.
The two of you were found wandering the woods, as I said. However, today is a very special day for us. And while it was not my decision, our community here has always relied on the strength of its council, 5 women including myself, who decide the betterment of the community for all reasons. And for whatever case, while I personally might disagree with it, it was decided that the two of you were a blessing from God. You are invited to join us tonight for the feast.
That's really kind of you, but unfortunately, we really need to find the Lavals. Do you know where they might have gone? We need to find them.
Then you can tell she's sort of annoyed a little bit.
I mean no disrespect, man.
I understand. Sabine and Mary were with us for many years. When they left here, yes, they passed by something or other. They have a home that has remained untouched since they left. You are free to check it after tonight's festivities. Please get dressed and meet us outside. You are to help with dinner as well. And she exits this small hut, leaving you two alone.
What is going on here?
I'm not liking it, Teddy. Like,
Is this a cult? Did we get found by a cult, and then we're gonna have to, I don't know, partake in some ritual? I think we need to get out of here before Mary gets found by the butcher.
yeah, how's my balance and stuff with my feet?
You're feeling better for sure.
Yeah.
It's still a bit.
So I'm still like staggering, but not
Yeah.
as badly. All right.
Yeah. You wouldn't be able to run a marathon, but you're pretty sturdy.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, that note we found in the asylum, it's old. I mean, it's possible She came here after she went to the asylum, and they helped her out, and it's a long time, 5 years ago.
Yeah, but
She could be long gone from now.
yeah, but she said Mary left 5 years ago. Who the fuck have we been chasing?
Mary, maybe she went and lived with her dad after that. It wasn't a. Maybe it's five. It's ancient history, Eli. We're barking up the wrong tree here. She's not here.
You're saying Mary was living here and then 5 years ago went and lived with her father?
It's a wicked coincidence that we found the note in the asylum, and maybe that note was written 5 years ago. And now, and she did go. She came here after losing her faith in Christianity or whatever it was she was practicing because of Father McCready, and she found these druids or whatever they are in the woods, lived with them for a while, and then moved on. I don't know. It's very strange, but we need to get out of here. We need to find wherever she is now. She's not here. And I get dressed. I grab my things. I said, let's do what we gotta do. But we gotta go.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I open the door to see what's on the other side.
Okay, so yeah, the two of you stand up, you get dressed, and you head outside. And when you step out of the hut, you see basically a small village bustling about. In the center of town is a large, unlit pyre, a long table, long enough to seat maybe 30 or more. It's laden with red cloths and fruits. The sky is gray and darkening. Again, you'd guess it's maybe 5 or 6 o'clock, maybe even later. And you also see women heading around, sort of lighting torches around the festivities, as it were. The entire encampment is surrounded by a large wall made of tall tree trunks sharpened into peaks.
Yeah. And there's no men and no boys?
I don't know. Give me a spot hidden.
Why, are they all hiding?
How am I supposed to know? There's a lot of people. Can you tell the difference between a man and a boy?
Generally speaking?
Well, you get me wrong all the time.
Yeah, no, I got nothing.
Okay. Well, you glance at the crowd and you can't quite tell. I mean, there's maybe, you're looking through each person. You don't see any.
Okay, is it clear they're getting ready for this festival?
Yes. And in fact, Mary Ellen, who was leading you out, or who was outside when you exited, sort of looks at you, and you sort of are surprised by her. She's waiting there, and she says, "We are going to be asking you to be plucking chickens." And as she walks, she sort of leads you, and she points to a hut, sort of on the edge of the encampment, it's an old hut. It looks untouched in years, and she says, "That was Sabine and her daughter Mary's hut before they left us. You're free to look in there afterwards."
Why do we gotta wait till after the service? Can we look in that? It's imperative, miss. I appreciate your hospitality, but honestly, we need to do this now.
And
so
she...
I'm sorry if that's rude and if you don't understand, but it's life and death here for a young lady, and I'm not willing to wait around and hopefully nothing bad happens. I need to make sure, as I'm sure you understand, her safety is at stake here.
And she stops walking, her hands sort of pressed like this, and she turns around. And you notice another older woman sort of walking over, and she leans and says, "Mary Ellen, is everything all right here?" And she just sort of holds up a hand and says, "Misters, we found you in the woods, close to death.
What?
Our God, and by decision of this council, says that you are brought to us as a sign of good faith. Do not abuse or disrespect that faith. You will help us pluck the chickens because it is asked of you. Afterwards, if I should feel so inclined to help you with Sabine and Mary, at that point, it will be for discussion." And she nods curtly to you, motions to the chairs, and you see Juniper waves at you as she's sitting next to the chickens plucking as well.
And I wave to Juniper, and then I just walk right to Sabine's house.
Okay, so you begin walking to Sabine's house, and a sort of an older woman, again, who's sort of sweeping, steps between you and Sabine's house as you sort of kind of dodge back and forth. And are you going to press through her?
Excuse me, ma'am.
And she sort of looks to Mary Ellen, who gives a knowing look back to Teddy and says, "Is this the path the two of you are choosing to follow?"
I take my glasses off. I say, "Ma'am, we're here for one reason. Yeah, you found us half dead in the woods. It's the path we followed to nearly our death, was to save this girl. If we have to be rude and ruin a feast, then so be it." And I walk past her as well.
And she sort of sticks up her nose, and as you walk away, she turns to the others and nods. And the woman in front of you, Michael, steps aside and nods. And as you're walking towards Sabine's hut, you see the woman walk over to Juniper and sort of whisper something in your ear. And one of the other women comes up and brings Juniper away. And the two of you enter Sabine's hut.
So again, going to do like a spot hidden, looking for anything that might be information of where they might have taken off to 5 years ago.
Okay.
Is there anything written on the door before we walk in?
No, it looks like a pretty... You enter the room and it looks identical to your own hut. It has two small beds, or not your own hut, but the hut you were in. Ooh, extreme success, Elijah, with a 7. Lucky. So you enter the small hut, and it seems, like I said, similar to the one you just left. Two small beds. Everything has a sort of a layer of untouchedness, and for whatever reason, the huts, which look handmade, must be left untouched for whatever reason in this community, because everything still looks sort of left in a haphazard sense. It's not that it's spilt over or whatever, just small rocks and clay bowls just left sort of without any sort of care or thought, pushed to the side. They're sort of just left out on most things. You spend a few minutes walking around the small hut, looking towards the windows, or looking towards the windowsills, and you see small rocks carved, almost like chess pieces, but they have little shapes, little people. And letters scratched on them, M and J and K. And they look sort of like toys that Mary might have when they're younger. And as you're looking around the room, it dawns on you that the diary that you found in the St. Augustine's was when Sabine was pregnant with Mary, at the point where she said she would be leaving. That was the whole kind of conversation she had with Macready. And then she said she'd be leaving. So what the story that it tells here is one of a lengthy stay, maybe 10 years, based on what you know of Mary and what the woman just told you. There's a small shelf, and you bend down and sort of flick through handmade papers and things of that nature. And there are little drawings of in charcoal of kids playing, and there is one of Juniper and Mary holding hands, even though Juniper is just a little bit taller. And there's even a handwritten note to Juniper and from Mary. And it says, "Dear Juniper Tamarack, I am so happy that we are friends. We will forever remain close." Little things like that. And as you slide through the pages with your extreme success, something sticks out to you. Written on the same page that the diary was. Oh, hold on one second. Oh shit, I forgot to make the second page. But you see one page, and then I'll just explain the rest. You see this page written on the same diary paper that the previous was. Michael, why don't you read that?
For 10 years, I have called this place home for both Mary and myself. They welcomed us with open arms when no others would help. I think now of the irony, how much I wanted Mary to not exist, and how I'm willing to leave everything we have behind to save her. They tell me she is evil. Something dark lay deep within her. They filled her head with power and prophecy, but I am no witch. Despite what others and Mary think, I hold no power. and neither does she. They are convinced she will bring about a great evil, and so she must die. I will not.
The backside says, I will not allow this to happen. While working in the wood, I noticed a homestead to the west of here. Tonight I will leave, and I will leave this all behind me. And as I said, it's written in the same ink that Sabine had used in the previous diary in the same pages, and it feels authentic and real. And as you look around the room, you sense that this is what became of Sabine and Mary, that for whatever reason this community turned on them. And as the light completely fades from outside and you're standing in the darkened room, the light completely fading, unable to read the paper, you smell the burning of fire just outside the door.
Maybe we can find something at the homestead or something.
I'm with you, Teddy. Let's push on.
Okay. So, as you go to exit the room, the hut, as you exit, you are surrounded by faces. There are maybe 15 women standing directly outside the door. And with two on either side of you as you immediately exit, they grab you, Teddy, as you leave first, and begin pulling you forward. And Eli, they do the same to you. And as they grab you, you feel that same broom that woman was using smack against your kneecap as you crumble to the ground. They begin dragging you to
This is how you treat a blessing from your God?
Towards the large platform in the center of town, below the pyre. As they do, you begin hearing them chanting. In the distance, you hear the women coming to the pyre, coming to the table, coming to the feast, saying something about Walpurgis. The chanting becomes sort of a low murmur, a constant hum throughout the crowd, as 30 to 50 women, strong, able-bodied women who have survived in this community for what you can only imagine is 100+ years, begin dragging you across the dirty ground towards that pyre. As you do, you see women behind this line of draggers, stripping out of their clothes as the moonlight breaks through the stars above, and the two of you begin sensing an overwhelming fear as you are brought closer and closer to the pyre. They're not attractive naked, Michael.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I got this weird sensation, Teddy. It's total terror and arousal, and I'm not.
I got a huge clue, raging clue.
They strip their clothes in the moonlight as the thick fog begins creeping once again over the jagged peaks of the wall surrounding the village. As the women strip, they begin dancing. Teddy, you're pulled up to a large platform before the pyre, and your clothes and shirt are ripped off of you, revealing your pale chest. They begin chanting in a low rumble. Strong, again, your knee is whacked out as you are put on your knees in front. A large silver dagger is held to your throat as you are held by the back of the head to watch Teddy on the stake. Anything you guys want to do?
I would have liked to fight a long time ago.
Try it. Well, I'm going to say it's overpowering. All four of them have sort of grabbed you. Now you're only being held by two. It's more likely possible. But these are strong, very, very strong, capable women. They outnumber you 30-1, 25-1. So, but you are now only being held by one arm each on two women. If you'd like, you can try.
I'll try. Sure.
Okay. Give us a strength roll. It will be an extreme success.
Nope.
79. Okay. So you do try to fight, and they can feel you as their hands, years of sawing the ground, and just grip you even tighter. Michael, you are kneeling, your knee burning, blood, fresh blood coming from your wound, a knife to your throat.
Do you want us to stop Mary or not?
Roll a persuade.
Nah. 88.
88. Disappointing. Okay. Let's each roll luck rolls. Each and every person in the whole damn world, roll a luck roll. Luck roll. Luck roll.
Very successful with a 6.
Very
And
successful.
super unsuccessful.
Ooh. Okay. So, Cain was successful, and Eli was unsuccessful. So, one of the older women, one of the 5 elders, you'd assume, walks before you, Eli, and says, "What does Mary have to do with this?"
We know you think she's a great evil. We're after her. We're trying to find her. There's another man that wants to use her to his own purpose. What if you said that we were the blessing? What if we're here to get her back to you?
We don't need her back, the woman says as she sort of backs away from you. Cain, you have a sort of an opportunity with this woman distracted. You can get one of your hands free.
Then I will. And I will grab... I mean, she's got a knife, right?
The 2 women... No, the knife is being held to Eli. Right now, the 2 women are just holding you down against sort of this table, which is up against a pyre. Unlit.
Why did you God send us if not to help, if not for a reason? And now you're gonna burn us? And I pull my arm free and grab a stick.
Okay. Sure. It was a good success roll, so we'll say that you can grab a stick.
like a log and a...
Yeah. Okay.
Kind of threaten the girl beside me to get back, kind of thing.
Sure, and she sort of does stand back a little bit. There are a number of women around you as you kind of hold the stick, sort of threatening to hit them, and they all don't answer your question. You know, why did your God bring us here? And they turn to a hut in the distance as it opens, and out walks Mary Ellen, the older woman, and she carries a torch in one hand and a silver dagger again in another hand, and she wears robes, and she walks towards you. As the chanting continues, a low rumble becomes more audible. The black goat comes, the black goat comes. As she approaches you,
fuck this, and I go over and I swing the stick at the one that's hanging onto Eli, hopefully knocking her clean out.
Okay, so you go to run towards her. It's still, it's maybe a 5-foot stretch. Give me a dexterity roll.
No dice. I can't reroll that
89? No, you can't. What did I say? Was it a luck roll?
Dexterity.
Dexterity roll. Yeah. No, you can reroll a dexterity roll.
I think try to reroll?
Because you're not attacking. Oh, no, you are attacking. So now you can't reroll. That's what you were planning on doing, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So, no. Unfortunately, you jump off the table, and you go to take a few steps, and again, with so many people around you, it doesn't take many people to sort of step in, and they sort of dodge that stick, for a second. You take a kind of haphazard swing as they grab your arms and pull you back to the table as Mary Ellen continues walking towards you. Eli.
Yeah, while that's going on, can I use that distraction to grab basically the legs of the lady who's got the knife to me and pull them out from under her?
You can definitely try. What would you like to try it with?
That's an excellent question. What is my make it like just a plain strength, since I'm basically grabbing her and lifting her?
Sure. Okay. She's a 600-pound woman. No, I'm just kidding. 50-foot woman.
Yeah, no. Got nothing.
Jeez, guys. I feel like the first game you were rolling really well. 81, by the way, for everyone who can't see it. So you try to take sort of a grab at her back legs, and nothing.
Her back leg. She's got more than two.
Well, at your back, her legs,
Yeah.
and she just sort of steps back.
Yeah.
The blade sort of presses against you. This is a community that has defended themselves for hundreds of years from whatever might be out there, and obviously
they're all
has
really
very
old.
peaceful. What's that?
And they're all really old.
You don't know the half of it. Actually, Eli, give me a luck roll too. I know you already gave me one, but you definitely should have.
80. Nothing.
80. No. Okay. So yeah, no, nothing. So yeah, okay. She continues towards you, Teddy. And she approaches you, and Eli, you watch this unfold with the knife against your throat. And she leans over to you, Mary Ellen, with a fire in her eyes, and she, with one hand, begins lighting the pyre, lighting the pyre behind you. And she whispers and she says, "This is happening because he chose you. You should feel blessed." And she steps back as the fire begins burning wildly behind you. And Teddy, you begin to feel the top of your head burn and crack as the fire spits hot coals onto your upper chest. You can no longer contain your screaming as Eli watches on. The burning logs tumble and fall as the chanting grows louder and louder. Teddy, you are consumed by fire as the hot coals scrape across your flesh, leaving deep, jagged lines in your skin as your lungs fill with hot ash and smoke. You see the face of Louise in the smoke. Eli, as you watch Teddy, he stops moving, his body covered and consumed in fire, his skin ablaze, and as you do, you see the fire. You see a figure emerging from the fire. Crouching from the burning wood appears a hooved, hairless man with pitch black skin, blackened eyes, and he turns to you, and he smiles. His sharp, yellow teeth and thick horns of a goat which protrude from his head. And all the women throw their arms in the air and screech out into the night. And as they do, the clouds part, revealing bright blue moonlight. And you see them in their true form, their hanging skin, their ancient bodies. Their faces look hundreds of years old. The coven is alive with fire, but you're also given a moment as you're released, the arms thrown up in the air.
And I run.
Okay. Give me a luck roll. Oh my god. 4.
I run really fast on my hobbling toes.
You know what? I'm not even gonna do that. I'm gonna give you a double whammy. Oh, let me think. Yeah. You stand up and turn to run. You see the gate. Women, these creatures, these witches of the night, lie between you and it, but they're looking up, distracted. You hope and pray for a distraction, and just as you do, your eyes lock with Mary Ellen. Her yellow eyes, sinister, she smiles at you, and as she does, the shot rings out in the night. You see the flash of the muzzle from behind one of the buildings as Mary Ellen falls to the ground, blood pooling from the hole in her head. She drops the dagger to the ground, and you see the other women, surprised, stirred, they turn. The butcher stands out from behind a building. He had let you leave the warehouse, following you here, hopefully, because he didn't read the address, as an idiot would be. However, he's momentarily distracted as the witches turn to him and run, giving you the perfect opportunity to run.
And again, I just try to head west.
So you run past her. The silver dagger lies by her dead, lifeless corpse.
See if I can scoop it up as I go.
And you do very easily. You run through the thunder and lightning. You stumble across a dirt road, and as you follow it deep into the woods, an eerie sense of uneasiness washes over you. You reach the top of a muddy hill as the rain begins pouring down. What goes through your head?
I take a moment to just assess the loss of Teddy. Like, now I'm questioning, could have I saved him? Was he still alive? Did I just leave him there to put him alive? And I realized I can't dwell on that at the time. And trying to comprehend what I saw rising from the flames, and the women, and like how old, and like what was going on with them, and the fact that I was just saved by the butcher, not necessarily intentionally, but out of circumstance. I'm trying to process all of this, and again get my bearings and try to head west towards that homestead that was mentioned.
And you do. And you do, and all this runs through your mind as you head west, and you enter a clearing. You reach the top of a muddy hill, and you see it open up to a large field, which beckons you forward. The field is massive and empty. Corn is grown here in the fall, but right now it's completely barren. And against the jagged backdrop of the forest, you see a house with a large peaked roof and black shingles. It looks peaceful and still, though it lurches forward as if towering over you. Next to it sits a large red barn, its roof reaching high above the roof of the house.
Now that I've got that moment of peace again, I take a moment and I realize that I still have a little bit of pain, so I'm not running anymore. I'm more staggering. I'm staggering through the field, and I'm looking around and trying to see what makes the most sense, whether it should be, do I go to the barn, do I go to the house? And obviously I'm going to pick the house, because who would, if they got the choice, who would live in the barn?
Well, and as you think that, you clutch your knee, now wearing again that cotton shirt, or I guess you're wearing your clothes again. Yeah. Sorry.
Well, no, because remember they ripped them off.
Oh, that's right. You're pretty much naked. With your back to the empty cornfield, you swallow hard as the lightning ignites the sky in a sharp blue light. And through the light, you see the house. It looks cold, silent, locked up tight. But the barn is open slightly. It seems like, oh, look at that. Nice. The barn is open slightly. The house looks completely closed off, but the barn looks to be open.
Looking at both, is there any light coming from either of them?
No, but give me a listen roll. Or a tracking, either of those.
All right, let's see what's going on here. Tracking or listen. I'll go listen. Nothing.
Okay.
But I will head towards the barn anyway, because there was something about that stuck out.
Okay.
So I stagger over to the barn.
You walk over to the barn. It sits tall, ominous in the heavy rain, and a chill climbs up your spine, not just because you're not wearing a shirt, but because of the cold air as thunder bellows through the farmstead, loud enough to feel within your core. The door, again, open a crack, and as you enter, the barn looks only lightly used. Its large ceiling feels almost cathedral-esque. The soft wood beneath your feet offers a slight give, but the barn itself is bathed in darkness. Nothing but the sharp strikes of lightning illuminate the inside barn. And as they crash, you see, in the middle of the barn, a hatch is opened up, leading down.
So I'm going to try to stealth it as best I can.
Okay.
Because I want to maybe take whatever by surprise, because all I have is the dagger.
Absolutely. So,
Fuck.
You move closer, slowly, with a 67, not a successful.
And again, one of the floorboards creaks.
It does. And with your knee, it's just so tough to compensate the pressure that it takes, and you move across, almost dragging your foot. The thoughts of Teddy leaving a stain in your mind. By the way, you're just going to lose 10 sanity, but that's for after. You enter just above the open hatch, and you see it reveals a set of small wooden stairs. There's a light on inside, a flickering light, candle, an open flame. You smell the sweet scent of freshly tilled earth and rock from the cellar, and it almost seems inviting.
So, rather than walking down the stairs, I'm going to try to lie down on my stomach.
Okay.
And get a better look.
You lie down on your stomach and try to look down, and what you see is just a figure in the distance at the far end of this tunnel. But you hear it now, clearly. It's a soft whimpering, a crying of a young girl.
Mary.
The crying stops.
Mary Lavelle.
It completely stops.
So I make my way, and I don't want to necessarily walk down the stairs because of my knee and my feet, so I kind of sit on the stairs, and I kind of slowly lower myself down.
Okay.
Kind of like, toddlers go downstairs.
And step by step, you descend into the darkness, the wood giving ever so softly beneath your bottom. And as you enter the dark cellar, you see that short path leading to a larger area. And as your feet touch the soft, dry dirt, you hear that crying, louder. She started again. That flickering light you see. And as she turns her head to you, you see the silhouette of her face. It's Mary.
Mary, my name is Elijah Strong. Your father sent me to find you.
The girl you recognize instantly. And the tableau before you is sad. Her hair dry. She's been sitting in here for maybe a day, maybe hours. Her fingers are caked in dirt and blood, and through the flickering candlelight which illuminates her back, you see the wall in which she sits before. The rock wall is pulled down. The hand-sized stones that cover the wall of the cellar have been removed to reveal what she cries before. The rotted, lifeless corpse of a woman. Her matted black hair similar to that of Mary, and you feel with every fiber of your being this to be Sabine Laval, Mary's mother.
So sorry. So sorry, Mary. I know you tried hard to find your mother. I know you just want to be reunited with her. Come on, let's go home.
With as quick as a flash, she stands up and runs towards you and embraces you. She throws her arms around you and she hugs you, crying heavily into your shoulder.
It's okay, Mary.
And you help her up the stairs, favoring your knee as you do. And what did you do with the dagger?
When I was talking to her, I like going down the stairs, I would have put it behind me because it.
Okay, yeah.
You said it was a teenage girl, so I wouldn't want to alarm her.
So you just left it, or you're still holding it?
No, it's still like in my pants in the back.
Okay, perfect. She hugs you and she cries softly into your arm, I should say. And you can tell she's malnourished and weak and tired, so tired of everything. And she looks up to you, her eyes sad and cold, and she sort of half smiles and thanks you. She says, "Thank you. How did you find me? Who sent you?"
There's time for that, Mary, but tell me, what do you want? I know what you've been through, and I know you've been through a lot, but I know you didn't want to go home to your father, and I'm okay with that.
Who? Did he hire you?
Your father did hire me, but
and
I've already told him that you were dead.
And as you see her, as she looks up at you from her hands around your waist, you see the look on her face just fade to this realization, this desperation. And as she steps back, you see that she's taken the dagger from the back of your pants. And she shakes her head, backing away towards the barn door, which is still open. No, you fucking work for him.
No, Mary, I just told you.
She runs out into the night. She runs out into the rain as the thunder picks up.
So I do the best I can to chase after. Mary, stop. There's a very dangerous man after you.
You chase after her, and she breaks off right out the barn into the woods. Quickly you follow, hot on her heels, trying to keep up as much as you can. You see her dart left and right, and you try to keep up, but with her malnourishment, she's also just as slow as you. You can see her falling into trees and pushing herself forward and forward, trying.
Mary, let me help you.
Desperately.
Mary, let me help you.
You call out to the night, but it falls on deaf ears as she pushes through.
Please, there's no time for this.
For a
We
moment,
gotta get you safe.
you flash back to the figure you saw in the woods running by you, and she eventually breaks from the wood and enters into a field as you gain speed on her. You're hot on her heels as she crosses a small dirt road and heads up a short hill before she finally stumbles and turns around towards you, maybe 10 feet away, your knee now bleeding profusely. You hold your hands up.
Mary, I told you, I'm not. Your father already thinks you're dead, and there's no need for him to think anything different.
She
I just
continues
want to help you.
backing
There's
away
a very
from you.
bad man. There's a very bad man who's looking for you, and we got to get you somewhere safe. Where do you want to go?
She backs away from you, holding the dagger out in front of her. She backs up into a large, ancient oak tree.
All I want to do is help you, Mary.
I will never go back to that monster.
I already told you. He thinks you're dead. You can
That
go wherever you want. The world
animal
is yours.
took me from my mother 5 years ago in the night. He had her murdered so she'd never come back to me. He took me home, posing as my father to the public, using me every night, night after night after night. Every time he used me, he'd carve into my skin. And she tears off her clothes to reveal, in the cold moonlight, her scarred body, her torso, her arms, her breasts, her back. Every inch of her covered body has been carved. The wind begins howling, and with tears in her eyes, she brings the blade up to her throat.
Mary, please, no.
I will never go back to him. Do you? And she says
Are
something,
you listening to me, Mary?
but
I already
her
told you.
voice gets taken away with the wind, and you don't hear what she says. And she looks to you for an answer.
Yes.
Give me a listen roll. Just in case.
That would be successful. But just barely.
She asks you again, I will never go back to him, do you? Her voice trailing off, and you said,
Yes.
She smiles. A solitary tear runs down her cheek. And as she drags the blade across her throat, she does so with such swiftness that at first the dots of blood that fall on her body seem like nothing more than dark droplets of rain. And as she falls backwards into the large ancient oak tree, the blood pooling down into the roots, you watch the life leave her pained eyes.
I go and grab her and try the best I can to hold the throat and stop the blood, but I know it's too late. The rain dripping. I'm just feeling so, like, for the first time, I'm feeling what Teddy felt that night. And I understand the burden that he's been carrying this whole time, and this poor girl and everything she's been through. The monster, the father. I'm just so lost. For the first time in my life, I have no direction. I've got nothing. Except for the cold, dead body of this girl in my arms.
You hold her as she breathes through the gurgled, slit wound in her throat, and she dies in your arms beneath the tree. You're left there, standing in the rain, holding her body. And one thought goes through your brain. One person to blame. Who is that?
Oh, fucking Christian. The fucking senator. I'm gonna go fucking kick his ass for what he's done to this poor child. Rip his heart in. Who does this to someone?
The date is now May 1st. Walpurgis Eve has been a success, quote unquote, for the coven. And though the hours have passed since Mary's passing, you have still yet to shake the thought of her death by the tree. However you dealt with it, whoever you contacted is irrelevant at this point, for you are now standing outside a Christian's mansion. The rain still beats down upon your brimmed hat. You've had a rest. It is now midnight, leading to May 2nd. What do you do?
I've taken the dagger that Mary slit her own throat with, because that's what I'm going to use to meet a father.
Okay. You head up to the front door, and it is locked.
I wouldn't head to the front door.
Okay, where do you head?
I'm going in looking for an open window.
Perfect. You go around pressing it, and you reach the study window, which, conveniently enough, is unlocked.
So it didn't work well for me last time, but I'm going to try to stealth in.
Let's do it. 22.
Yeah.
Success.
So that is a success.
You open the window silently and crawl into Mr. Christian's mansion. You've entered the study and half expect him to be at the mantel, drinking a glass of scotch, looking at a picture, reciting pompous lines, but it's empty, dim, lifeless. But from the hallway, the large double oak doors which lead to the hallway you were walked down only 2 days ago, you hear a sound and see a very dim light.
So I'll walk up again as quietly as possible and see if I can listen to hear what's being said.
As you enter the hallway, you realize that the sound is music, just a record playing, but you see it coming from a small slit of light, a secret door under the stairs.
So I walk up to the door, give another little listen, see if I can see anything else from that little crack as I'm gotten a little closer, and then slowly start to push it open if I have nothing.
You look, and you do see a set of wooden stairs descending into a blue-lit cellar, and you open the door and take a step inside. You descend the stairs to the basement. What is your demeanor?
I'm just so angry and still at the same time so empty, and I'm almost feeling like an animal. I'm stalking almost. I almost feel like all ounce of humanity's gone out of me, but it feels like it's the right thing to do.
As you head down the stairs, the music comes more into play, a jaunty tune, and you head about halfway down the stairs, and as you do, you see Mr. Christian, his back to you, painting wildly on a canvas. The scene before you is bizarre. He seems like a different man, excited, drawing. In the corner, you see a mattress. You see children's toys, trinkets in the other corner. The flickering basement lights bathe the room in a blue tint. You pass by the bottom. You see a painting, painted presumably by Mr. Christian himself, revealing a man wearing many different faces. He holds the face in his hand, one that smiles, while the true figure stays lifeless and empty. You step to the bottom step He still doesn't notice you're there.
I'm gonna walk right up behind him, grab his head by the back, by his hair, and let him know that this is for Mary.
Okay. You grab his hair, and you hear him. What?
I found Mary. I saw the scars. This is for her.
And as you drag the knife across his neck, his blank canvas is covered in wet red blood. His body spins around, grabbing you as it falls by your feet. He grabs his neck helplessly, hoping to stop the bleeding, but your cut is too deep.
As I watch him fall to the floor, his life still gurgling, I reach into his pocket, grab his matches, grab cigarettes, sit down on the bed, and light a cigarette.
And you sit there as the blood drips down your hand, holding the cigarette as it burns. The package that was sent to Roland Cummings was sent far too late. His partner, Charlie Dowd, had no idea that it had been sent almost a year since his former partner's death, and that his package would not arrive at his old office, but rather the newly inhabited office of Strong and Kane, the two investigators who scooped up the lease from the deceased Roland. And as Sammy patiently sat, waiting for the return of Strong and Kane, even though he vowed otherwise, the Egyptian text on the outside of the package was too much to handle, and his curiosity got the better of him. As he searched the box for clues to its contents, a curious thing happened. The once hidden seams of the box seemed to have revealed themselves, and with a steady, sturdy hand, young Sammy removed the top, placing it on Kane's desk ever so carefully, and peeking inside the ornate Egyptian box. Imagine his disappointment to find out it was only a stone about the size of an ostrich egg. However, there's more. The epilogue. Paul sat up in his chair, still half asleep. He glanced at the papers he held loosely in his hand. The sun, cutting through his office blinds, exposed the billowing steam from his coffee. Autumn had already began to set in, and judging by the frost on the corners of his windows, it was going to be a cold one. With a slight rap on his door, Anthony entered Paul's office. "Sir?" he said, almost trailing off. "Yes?" Paul said, without dropping the papers he held in his hands. His eyesight was fading, but he was still good without glasses, at least for the time being. Paul looked up at Anthony with a smile until he saw Anthony's face. It was flat, serious, very much unlike him. We have a situation." The car ride was quiet as the autumn sun began to rise, just cut above the tree line, casting sharp shadows on the police cruiser. People had already started their day, moving fish nets in for winter, heading out to the coffee shop before work. The town was alive, but it seemed to move in slow motion. It was a short drive, and as the cruiser pulled up to the shoulder where the ambulance was already stationed, Sam Tersch, who was smoking at the back of it, stood up when he saw Paul and doused his cigarette. Officer Brady came up with a small path and greeted Paul with a knowing nod as the two headed into the woods. Leaves scattered the well-beaten path as the three men moved through the tall, dry grass. As they approached the man-made bridge, Paul ran his hand over the railing, looking down at the water far below. For a second he paused. Anthony stopped him, and after a long beat said, "Sheriff, we need to keep moving." Paul nodded in agreement, and as they passed through the empty trees, approaching the dilapidated church, and with a stern look he walked over to the coroner. The coroner placed a soft hand on Paul's chest and said with a regret, "This one's tough, Paul." He bent down and lifted back the crisp white sheet to reveal Luke Lawrence, no different than he looked 30 years ago. Anthony stepped up behind Sheriff Paul Hall and put a hand on his shoulder. I'm sorry, Sheriff. Did you know him well? He's been a local here forever, no? Not well, answered Paul. He had a tough go of it after his sister passed. I suppose it finally caught up with him. As Sheriff Paul turned to leave, the coroner made a small noise, which caught the attention of all three men. More? Sheriff Paul asked. With a sort of confused nod, the coroner lifted the sheet farther back. Yeah, Sheriff. What do you make of this? There, carved into Luke's chest, was the symbol. The same symbol that was carved on the bodies of the 5 children who died 30 years ago. Returning July 19th is Grimm, Part 4. And thank you for hanging out with us tonight. Thank you so much to my very best friend, Mr. Mycl Barber.
I gotta say, phenomenal story, Harlan.
Oh,
great, insanely good.
Thank you. And a huge thank you to Mr. Chris Viseau, who unfortunately had to duck out. He is a teacher, lots of papers to mark, and a busy man. But thank you guys so much for hanging out. Thank you so much to those of you who were interested in the story and wanted to hang out and sort of had a lot of questions and things like that. That stuff keeps me going. It makes me feel really excited and special about all that kind of shit. So thank you for making that extra special. But sincerely, thank you to Mycl and Chris who brought these characters to life. Such a cool, unique idea to be able to execute with your friends. So thank you guys.
You want to execute your friends? What?
Well, sorry. Well, that's pretty much what happened, did it not? Didn't you see Chris fucking get burned alive? Crazy to think how much could have gone totally different in that last episode and the previous episode. Actually, this episode was very surprising. You guys didn't do anything wrong, but definitely handled it in different ways that I sort of anticipated. But isn't that the fun of role-playing? Never knowing how these guys or people are going to, deal with your circumstances. I think that's sort of the essence of it, isn't it?
That is sort of the thing, yeah.
Mycl, we are back with next week with a very special game near and dear to my heart. Why don't you tell the people what they got?
I believe that we're doing Siege and Arrow 2!
That's right, the ongoing adventures of Siege and Arrow. So please make sure that you have watched that so I can crank out my arrow and make sure that we can do everything fantastically. I don't remember.
If you haven't seen number 1, don't worry about it.
You don't have to.
However, do see number 1 just because, fuck, they're hilarious.
It's episodic, so it doesn't really matter what the fuck is going on. Perfect. Well, that is it for me. If anyone has questions about this little adventure, I'm happy to answer them. I always enjoy that. Go over to the Reddit page, which is the INVICTUS, reddit.com/r/the INVICTUS stream, and one of the posts there says story discussions and post-game discussions. Because it's only a 3-part, there's no sense in doing it here, and there weren't that many questions. So if you have questions there, I'd happily answer them, so long as they don't give away too much of the grander picture here. July 19th, we are back with Grimm. It is going to be a very exciting time. I'm excited to see how Matty has grown up. It's been 30 years since we've seen Matty. What is he going to be like now?
I'll let you know. I haven't thought that far ahead yet.
Well, I haven't written the story either, so I think we're all good. Thank you again so much for you guys. Thank you for everybody here. It is always a pleasure. If you have the time and the money, please check out the Extra Life donation link in the description. It is so important to us, and it would be something very kind if you guys could do that. That is it for me. Chris isn't here, so as Mycl always likes to say... Oh, I'm sorry. Endgame XP. You're so right. Endgame XP. Mycl, you read a few advice ideas. What?
Yeah, I was going to say, you said Exrozia?
That's Zia Abraham.
Zia. So let's give it to Zia, because Zia gave, that's who I was following there.
Perfect. Absolutely. That's the best motivation to do anything. You had a great thing. Look, she picked it out too. She was the person who let us know that we almost missed it, and we missed it last time too. And Nick said the same thing. So
you're blanking again.
Oh, am I?
Yeah, but that's okay. Now you're good.
Okay. Well, anyway, it's going to Zia. Thank you so much for watching. Have a fantastic night. And as Mycl always likes to say,
we'll see you around the table.
We'll see you around the table, guys. Good night!